and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important topics that happen in our today's Hindu newspaper. And first of all, I'll let you know the important topics of the day, and later on we are going to see from both prelims, mains point of view, and I will be giving you practice questions at last. Okay, so now let us see the topics of the day. First one is DGCA proposes swift ban on disruptive passengers. So this article is talking about behavior of passengers in this aeroplanes. If their behavior is disruptive, now they are going to be banned in this airways. So this topic is important from your GS paper 2 under governance. And next topic it is about INS Vikrant. There is one image in international edition related to this INS Vikrant, and there is a very high possibility of getting prelims based question on this, and this is very important from your science and technology from GS paper 2. Next topic is Nidya OpenAI announced partnership with Indian firms, academic institutes. So this article is talking about how this company, it is US based company, and this US based company is going to have partnership with India related to this AI. So which kind of partnership we are going to have with that, and how it is going to useful for our AI related governance in our country. We have to see this article from that point of view, and there is a possibility of a prelims based question from this area, and we are going to see that. And next topic is Safari Nagarhole Bandipur to resume soon with fewer trips. So actually what is happening here is around 100 days ago this safari had been banned in this area, and now we are going to again come up with this safari right soon in this area. And many a time UPSC asked a question regarding this Nagarhole and as well as Bandipur. So again, if it is in news means there is a tendency of getting once again question related to this Nagarhole again in your environment and ecology point of view. And next topic is center to bring 1954 border villages under development scheme. So this article is talking about vibrant village program, and you may get a question related to that scheme. And next topic is troubled waters. So this article is talking about Great Nicobar project, and we know why this Great Nicobar project is once again in news. And next topic it is about Kashmir revival. So this article is talking about tourism revival in this Kashmir, and this article is important from your economy point of view from GS paper 3. And next topic is AI for people applying technology for social good. So this article is talking about AI. So actually here, because of this India AI Impact Summit 2026, many articles in our newspaper are related to this AI. So here you have to see what exactly AI, in which areas we can use this AI, what are the applications of AI, you have to see what are the challenges. One article said about one thing, so you have to cover that in comprehensive way. So these are the topics that we are going to see in our class. Okay, look at the title, guys. DGCA proposes swift ban on disruptive passages. Please make a note here. Very, very important update. From which subject we can say this? It is talking about airways. In which subject we can see your airways? In geography, under this topic of means of transportation. Yes. And next, airways is very important for the trade as well, for imports and exports between the countries, and even transportation of people from one country to another country, and it is a very faster means of transportation, and it is also part of our infrastructure. So it is also important from your economy point of view. And in which area we are going to come up with new greenfield airport in India? Nicobar project. Yes, in this greater Nicobar project, we are going to come up with a new greenfield airport. That means, how can you expect a question in this area? In 2024 or 2025, there was question in this format. They gave airports, proposed airports, and they said whether it is greenfield or brownfield airport. Are you getting? So now you have to collect airports which are going to be sanctioned or which are announced by the government of India, and you have to see which airport is it, because already you have an example of Greater Nicobar project. Under that, we are going to come up with one airport. That is a new one. That is Greenfield Airport. So from the last 1 year, whatever the airports which are in news, you have to see that. That is the first hint from this article. And next one here is, from mains point of view, you have to see about what are the advantages and disadvantages of airways and what are the recent problems we are facing in our airways. Yes or no? So recently we know about lots of problems we faced in our aviation sector. In a study also, there is one article related to the challenges we are facing in this aviation sector. You have to note down the challenges in the recent past. And who is giving this the guidelines or directions? DGCA. What is the full form of DGCA? Director General of Civil Aviation. That means this is the body which will be controlling our aviation sector. Yes. So what will be the possible question? You may get directly facts based question related to this DGCA, because last from the 6 months onwards we are seeing this DGCA, civil aviation, everything is in news. There is a very high chance. Okay, how can you get a question? Consider the following statements regarding DGCA. They'll give you 2 to 3 statements about that, and they may ask you to identify correct or incorrect. That is a one possible question. And next possible question, how can you expect a question? This DGCA is controlling what? Aviation sector in our country. In the same way, we have roadways, we have railways, we have pipelines. So there is certain authority which will be controlling that as well. For example, highways is controlled by National Highway Authority of India. Like that, you have to see different sectors like aviation, roadways, railways, like that, and you have to see which is the controlling authority. This is also a possible question. Why? Because in 2025, in set A, I think fourth or fifth question is in this format. They gave one box and they gave some organization, which ministry, what is the role. They may ask you in this way also the question. Are you understanding? So in all these possible ways, you have to make your notes from prelims point of view. From prelims point of view, you have to focus on DGCA and similar kind of authorities which are present in India, which is controlling something. And next one here is, you have to know about airports in our country. And from mains point of view, what you need to know? You need to know about facts related to aviation sector and what are the problems we are facing in the recent past and how can we overcome that. Are you understanding? Okay, now you guys read this title and tell me. DGCA proposes swift ban on disruptive passages. What is the meaning of disruptive passages? Passengers. Okay, disruptive passengers, what it does mean? What does it mean? Disruption means they are causing some disturbances. Yes or no? Which kind of behavior is not accepted in aeroplanes? Smoking in aeroplane is accepted. Drinking alcohol in aeroplane is accepted. After drinking alcohol, if they are behaving rude with this air hostess or nearby passengers, is it accepted? If you're breaking, if you enter into this aeroplanes, before your seat, we will be having certain things to be maintained, right? So if you're breaking all those things, if you're breaking the seats, if you're breaking some things in that, is it accepted? And even whenever you're going to have this takeoff, at that time they will be telling about what kind of safety measures you have to follow. You have to fasten your seat belt, and they'll be telling about life saving equipment, everything, right? So if you're unnecessary using that, is that right? No. And for aeroplanes, we have emergency exit. Yes or no? Do you know emergency exits? So if you're opening that, is that right? No, right? So if you're doing that kind of behavior which is causing disturbance either to pilots or either to air hostess or either to crew members or either to peer passengers, it is not accepted. So because of this, now DGCA is proposing ban on travel of this disruptive passenger once again in their airlines. Are you understanding? So this topic is about. So how can you get a question? So see this infographic. Here you can see disruptive acts includes. You may get question on this acts also. Like recently DGCA proposed ban on disruptive passengers. Which of the following comes under disruptive acts? Is that a possible question? So you have to note down this. What are the disruptive acts which are not going to be tolerated by this airlines is consumption of alcohol and domestic flights, smoking on board, tampering with emergency exit, engaging in protest or sloganing in aeroplanes. Next one is unruly conduct arising from intoxication. Once they got intoxicated after taking drugs or after taking alcohol, they should not behave rudely. Okay, so these are the acts, they are called as disruptive acts. Okay, now you guys tell me, if they are coming with completely zero tolerance towards this kind of behavior, what earlier they did, you need to know that or not? This is something new now, which is in newspaper. You have to know what they did earlier. So here you have to know about what they did earlier. What is the earlier mechanism related to this disruptive behavior of passengers in aeroplanes? Okay, now let us see here. Now, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, that is DGCA, has proposed a strict zero tolerance policy against unruly behavior during air travel. Why they came up with these strict rules? To enhance safety of aircraft. If suddenly they are opening this emergency exit, it is not at all safe for that entire aircraft. And safety of passengers is very important. Safety of crew members is also very important, and they have to maintain discipline in aeroplanes and as well as airports. So because of this kind of changes, they came up by this DGCA now. Okay. Now let us see here how DGCA came up with this rule and in which rules they are coming up with changes. You have to know that rules also. The first important point you have to do is DGCA doing amendment. Amendment is nothing but changes to civil aviation requirement under Rule 133A of Aircraft Rules 1937. So see the year. Even before we got independence, we have these rules of maintenance of aeroplanes. Now we are changing these rules of 1937 and we inserted this is if any person who is having this disruptive behavior, we are going to ban him for 30 days. 30 days on disruptive or unruly passengers without referring to any committee. Without referring to any committee, if airlines, if they are facing this kind of disruptive behavior, they are going to ban that person for 30 days. Okay. What is the earlier process? If you see the earlier process, first of all, airlines, they are going to report about this kind of person or about the incident which happened in the aeroplanes to DGCA. First, they will file an application regarding this report. And next one is, once DGCA get the complaint or report, they will now form an independent committee. And in this independent committee will have retired district and sessions judge. And they will inquire into this report and they will be banning that person within 45 days. Within 45 days, they have to complete the process. So this is the earlier process. What happens? They are taking 45 days. Again, they will ban that person for 1 month. Then what happened? What will be the time limit? It will extend beyond 2 months. So here what is happening? The problem with this earlier mechanism is it is delay. It is taking lot of time. The delays are happening. So because of this now DGCA directly amended the rules and it said that we are not going to send that report to any committee. Directly we are going to ban that person for next 30 days. So these are the changes. Are you understanding? Okay. And one more important point that you have to make a note here is in this infographic also they gave in the red color. So if there is any information which is given in the red color, that is very important. Okay, what they gave here, while airlines will inform to DGCA about any flying ban imposed and maintain a database of such passengers, the ban does not add passengers to the regulator's official no-fly list. Do you know about this no-fly list? Who cannot fly? No fly list means that person is banned to fly. Who will be normally banned? Banned? Terrorist. So here you have to know about even no fly list. Please make a note. Do work on this no fly list. What is no fly list? Who are listed under this no fly list? You may get a question on this also. So here, if any airlines is banning any person because of his disruptive behavior, he will be not included in officials, that is DGCA's no fly list. He will be banning only for temporary period, not for permanent. Okay, that is the thing that you have to remember. On this, UPSC can ask a question. Recently, DGCA came up with ban on disruptive passengers. It will, that name will be included in no fly list. No, it will be not included. Okay, so here you have to know the difference between just ban and each one is no fly list. Okay, now you guys tell me what is the impact of this kind of regulations came up by this DGCA now. What do you think? Is it a good or bad? What is your opinion? Good or bad? Good. Okay, so first one here is earlier procedure is taking lot of time. To reduce the time delays, it will be very useful. And next one here is we can have certain standard operating procedure from now onwards so that we can ensure the behavior of the people, discipline of people who are boarding the flights or who are entering into this airports. And this kind of changes which shows zero tolerance towards the behavior of the people. So can we include fundamental duties anywhere here? Think about, is there any link between this present guidelines and as well as fundamental duties? On this also try to link it. Okay, now let us see the next article. See the image. It is about INS Vikrant. Very, very important, and keep star mark. You may expect a prelims based question on this. Actually, we were expecting about this question in the last year, but last it was missed. So you may get this year. Okay, now let us see here. INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant is India's first domestically designed and built aircraft carrier. And it is very important for our Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is self-sufficient India in this defense sector. And why we are expecting this year is, even though it came up in year 2022, the full operational of this INS Vikrant happened recently in 2026. So because of this, you may expect a question related to INS Vikrant. Okay, how you can get a question? One possible question is directly they will give you statements related to INS Vikrant. Consider the following statements regarding INS Vikrant. You'll get statements based question. That is the first possible question. And second possible question is, we will use this kind of carriers in Navy. In Navy, we have aircraft carriers, we have frigates, and we have submarines. So these are three major equipments used by our Navy. So here INS Vikrant is aircraft carrier. From last 1 year, we discussed there are lots of frigates which are there in use, right? So you have to know about the names of aircraft carriers, the names of frigates, the names of submarines. How you can expect a question? They may give a pair-based question. Like on one side, they'll give you the name. On one side, they'll give you aircraft carrier, submarine, frigate, and they will ask you to identify correct pair. Are you understanding? So in this way, you have to make a note. If they want to further complicate the question, they can add you one more column, and they said made in India, collaboration with India, France, India, Russia, deployed from France. In that way also UPSC can ask a question. So what your duty is now, you have to make not go beyond 1 year. So just from last 1 year, what are the current affairs material we are giving, just see about this kind of equipments. It may be aircrafts, frigates, submarines, or carriers, helicopters, whatever the defense equipments which are in use from last 1 year. You have to make a note of this and what it is, and whether it is indigenously produced or whether we develop that with a collaboration with other country or directly we imported from other country. For example, Rafale jets. Now again, India-France defense relations is in news. Yesterday we discussed. They may give Rafale. Rafale is aircraft, right? Fighter jet. From which country we got? From France directly. It is not developed in India. For example, S-400 type missiles is in use. It is, what is that? S-400. It is a missile system where we got from Russia. For example, BrahMos missile where we got from India and Russia. So like that, whatever the defense equipments and defense related things which are there in use, you have to know what exactly is it and whether it is developed completely in India or other countries. In 2025, there was a question in that mode. Because of that, I am telling. Okay, so if you see PYQs, then you can easily understand what is going on and how the questions are coming. Okay, now let us see here what is the significance of this INS Vikrant. First one here is actually INS Vikrant we had earlier also and we deployed newly. So this newly deployed aircraft got this earlier name of Vikrant. At that time of 1971, what happened in India? Bangladesh Liberation War. In that Bangladesh Liberation War, India helped this Bangladesh to get freedom. So Bangladesh, with which we are sharing land boundary and as well as sea boundary, right? Maritime boundary we are sharing and as well as we are sharing continental boundary. So if we cannot attack from the land, then we can use this water also to attack this Bangladesh because it is part of Bay of Bengal. So at that time we used this INS Vikrant and successfully we had used our targets. We had striked this areas. So that what happened? That led to upper hand of India over this Pakistan in that area. That led to the liberation of Bangladesh. We surrounded this at that time East Pakistan all round this. We surrounded on the land and we surrounded on this water. At that time from water we used this INS Vikrant. And next important point you have to remember is, and this waterways are very important, especially we have many choke points, and if you're not maintaining proper security in this area, we cannot ensure proper trade, proper exports and imports. So if you want to increase the security of our sea lines, obviously we need to have this kind of big aircraft carriers. And next one here is, if you want to improve our influence in IOR region, especially China is improving its infrastructure, it is building its chains, it is building the ports under this string of pearls concept, right? So to counter that, for sure we need to have this kind of equipment. And this one is, if you want to safeguard our own vital interest in this Indian Ocean region as well as in this overseas mechanism, we need to have this kind of equipment. And not only that, Andaman and Nicobar Islands is located in this Bay of Bengal and it is a strategic location for our country. Because of that only we are going for development of this Nicobar project, right? So if you are not having that kind of big equipment that we can use in the water, can we ensure the security of this Andaman and Nicobar? One more problem with this Andaman and Nicobar is majorly who are living in that area, tribal people, not the mainland people. So if tribal people are alone living, what is the problem? Their population is very less. It is not like ours. And even the technology advancement is very low. Even today also, most of this Andaman and Nicobar tribes, they are hunting and gatherer tribe, even not pastoralists. Everyone is hunting and gathering only. So it is very easy to occupy that region by other countries. So if you are having that kind of big equipments with which we can launch any missile or any operation, that will be very helpful for India to maintain our influence in this Andaman and Nicobar region, to protect our region from others. And next one is for non-military missions also, we need to have this kind of equipments. For example, if there is any oil spill or if there is any operation that we have to conduct. Recently in Sri Lanka, we conducted which mission? Operation Sagar Bandhu. So if you want to conduct that kind of operations, missions to help other countries under this humanitarian disaster management responsibilities, obviously we need to have that kind of equipment. So all these are the important points which suggest that yes, we need to have a good equipment. In interview, you may get this kind of question. Listen properly. India is a developing country and India is also a huge populous country. India is facing lots of problems like poverty, hunger, lack of development, unemployment. But even though our government of India is investing lakhs of crores of money in this defense equipments. Do you need development of defense equipment is important, or government need to focus or shift the focus onto this poverty? What is your opinion? Are you understanding? So in this way, UPSC will ask you interview questions. Then these points will help you to counter them. Are you understanding why we have to have this kind of defense equipments in an ocean region, protecting safety and security to maintain territorial sovereignty and integrity? Overall, public interest is large. Okay, so like that, you have to give the reasons why defense related expenditure is very important now for our country. Okay, see this next article, guys. Media OpenAI announced partnership with Indian firms, academic institutes. Here you may get a question from this infographic, guys, especially from science and technology. If you see previous year's questions from 2001, they are giving like whatever the topics which are there in this kind of infographic, they are taken directly the questions from this area, because science and technology is completely current affairs, and you will be getting minimum 12 questions, maximum is 18. 12 to 18 questions you'll get from science and technology, that are from last 1 to 1.5 year current affairs only, maximum. In that you have to focus on this kind of infographics case. Okay, now I will tell you how you can get a question. So here, this partnership is a technical tie-up. Chip maker Media will work with 3 firms, while OpenAI signed with multiple universities. So this is about introduction regarding this media company. It is a chip making company, and it is signing agreements with institutions and as well as some companies in India. Okay, no need of remembering this. So just focus on this one point. Media to provide firms access to Nemotron, Nemotron, a family of open source LLMs, and Nemo, a software suite for managing AI agents. How you can get a question is, recently Nemotron is seen in news. What it is? Understanding? Recently, Nemotron is in news. What it is? Because one chip making company of US, it is a US giant, it is collaborating with India is not a small issue. Yes or no? Where is US developed country? Where is this Nvidia? It is one of the tech giants of OpenAI. Now it is making some agreements with Indian institutions and as well as 3 Indian firms. What are those 3 firms? Are Yotta, Vivo, TTA, next one is LNT, and third one is E2E Networks. So with this, they are making agreements. In this agreement, what they said, now these companies will have access to Nemotron. What is Nemotron? Nemotron is a family of open source LLMs and Nemo. Do you know LLMs? What is the full form of LLM? Yes, large language model. So this is also one interview question in the final interview of a student, and in that DAF of that student, he said that he did some certificate course of artificial intelligence. So they asked, what is artificial intelligence and on what basis is artificial intelligence work? And one more question they got is, yes, ChatGPT is normally used by everyone. Everyone in India know about this ChatGPT. What is the source of ChatGPT? Answer is LLMs. LLMs is nothing but large language models. Okay, so how you can get a question? Now, India AI Impact Summit 2026 is going on. It is very special because till now, developed countries, they conducted that for twice. And third time, we are conducting in India. That too, we are representing Global South. Right. That is a one important significant thing. Now you can expect a question regarding what is AI. And you may get applications of AI. You may get challenges of AI. You may get question regarding Nemotron. So like that, you have to connect all the dots. In 2019, 2020, there was question regarding IoT, Internet of Things. You may get question regarding what is machine learning. You may get question regarding supercomputers. So all these areas that you have to focus now from 2026 prelims point of view. Are you understanding? Okay, now let us see here. What is this article exactly? NVIDIA has announced collaborations with 3 Indian firms. Yota, you may get this kind of question also. They may give you company, what it is. They may give you one Yota. Yota is a data center operator. Please make a note, these three also. We don't know where UPSC can ask a question. 3 Indian firms. The first one is Yota. Yota is a data center operator. Yota, a data center operator. Next one, L&T, Latson and Tobro, involved in engineering and construction. L&T, you know, L&T is famous for engineering and construction. L&T, no idea. L&T companies. L&T is construction. Next one is E2E, cloud computing provider. E2E, E2E networks, cloud computing provider. So these are the 3 Indian firms are going to have collaborations with this media, which is US giant tech company. Okay, I said about this Nemotron, right? Have you wrote this? Nemotron, it is open source large language models. And Nemo is nothing but a software suite for building, customizing and deploying AI agents. You may get question on this Nemotron, Nemo. Remember that for sure. If anything related to artificial intelligence, that is the answer. Okay. Okay, because of this collaboration, how we are going to be get benefited. That is a one important thing that you have to understand. So with this collaboration, we can improve our model training, and even we can go for high scale inference with India's AI cloud infrastructure, and we are going to have collaboration with this so that we can increase our startups regarding this AI. We can improve our research and development in this AI industry now in our country. So these are the some significance of this kind of collaboration. And say this next article, Safari in Nagarhole, Bandipur to resume soon with fewer trips. And yesterday, I called you 3 students per batch and I said you to do PYQs. How many of you ordered that book? 1, 2, only 2? 3. You will be getting surprised if I say something. I want to show that with evidence. If at the next mentorship, I'll show you that. Please remember me and ask me to show environment questions. Okay, I'll show every question is interlinked, guys. Yesterday, I did around 3 to 4 years analysis of environment and ecology, and everything is interlinked. Yesterday, I said that only 2 years I did know with you. I guess I said only 2 years of questions I did. I saw. And in that also there is interlinking of questions. Yesterday I did 4 years and everything is interlinked, guys. So whatever the work I did, if you do that, for sure and sure, you can clear your prelims. And in that questions, I saw Nagarhole many times. If something appears related to Nagarhole in the newspaper, that will be very important. Are you understanding? And even Bandipur also there twice. Nagarhole is repeated thing, but Bandipur is very less repeated. Okay? And the students who didn't got mentorship yesterday, after your class or at 11 o'clock, come to me for mentorship. I think Kranti, Devender, Kishore, sorry, Joseph, Srimant also, right? Remaining, everyone came to my cabin, right? So whoever not attended the mentorship, please try to attend the mentorship after this current affairs class, so that I'll complete in the morning session only. Tell to your friends also, others who didn't come to mentorship yesterday. Okay, now let us see here how you can get a question here is mostly UPSC repeatedly asked about biosphere reserves. How many biosphere reserves are there in India? How many? 12? Huh? Only 12? Biosphere reserves. Which state is having more biosphere reserves? That is there in your notebook. Sandeep sir made you to write that. I want to add one thing in that. So we have 18 biosphere reserves. Under that, UNESCO man and biosphere reserves, how many? There are 12. 12 UNESCO man and biosphere reserves. But recently one more had been added. That is cold desert in Himachal Pradesh added into that list. So total now we are having 13. 13 UNESCO man and biosphere MAB program. So please add that in your environment notes case. In your environment, I saw your environment notes. There are 12 in that. So you have to add one more. One more is cold desert of Himachal Pradesh. And totally we have 18 biosphere reserves. On that, many a times UPSC asked questions. Biosphere reserves. Every option is repeated. Okay, see that once. Okay, now let us see about this article. Read the title. So, what is safari? Have you went to the safari? What is the safari is about? Uh, one open jeep or one vehicle in which closed jeep. In some areas, open jeep will be there. If it is not a tiger reserve, if you want to see that herbivores animals, they will take you in open jeep. So they will take you into the deep forest, and if you see that animal, it's okay. If you can't see, that is your fate, right? So that is about your safari, right? So here, this Nagarhole and Bandipur reserves are famous for which animal? Yes, tiger. So what is the problem with the tiger? We came up with this project called as Project Tiger. What is the aim of this Project Tiger? It is also there in your notes. Conserving tiger. So because of this conservation of tiger, is the number of tiger had been increased or decreased in India? Increased in India, right? So because of this, what happened? Tiger is carnivores or herbivores animal? Carnivores. So whenever we are having this safari trips into this Nagarhole and Bandipur, what this tiger will do? Will attack the people. So that led to increased human-animal conflict in this Nagarhole and Bandipur tiger reserves. So because of this, from last 100 days, they stopped this safari. Understood? Okay, that is about this article. And again, now they are resuming. Resuming means they are again starting the safari with less trips. Okay, so how you can expect a question? It is about human-animal conflict. Because of that only we stopped this safari. Okay, which animal you are talking about? Tiger. You may get a question related to this tiger. Which of the following state has highest number of tiger? And they may ask you about Project Tiger. Under that, we established National Tiger Conservation Authority. You may get question on that. And they are saying that the number of tigers is increased. That means they may also ask question about tiger census. Once in how many years we are going for census of tigers? For humans, once in 10 years. For tigers, once in how many years we are going for counting of number of tigers? That is there in your book. Once in 4 years. Once in every 4 years, we are going for tiger census. And once in 4 years, if you are getting that report, again you have to say which state, how many number, in which state increasing, in which state decreasing. And they may ask you like ascending order, descending order. And you have to know about tiger reserves in India. How many tiger reserves are there in India? How many, at least number? Guess. Very good memory. So all this you have to make a notes and revise. Are you understanding? And even you may get question regarding this Nagarhole and Bandipur Tiger Reserve. Okay, whenever you're studying about any national park, what you have to see is, you know about this core area, buffer zone and transition zone, right? So you have to see its core area, it belongs to which biosphere reserve, and next you have to see which river is flowing in that, and if river it is flowing, for sure in the national park at least one river will flow, and in that river we are constructing any dam or not, any project we are planning or not, you have to see that. Recently in this Brahmaputra river area, which parks will be there in Assam? Recently in Kaziranga National Park, we studied about one project. What is that project is about? To decrease human and element conflict, we are coming up with a bridge Recall. Can you recall that we discussed in the current affairs class, I think 10 days or 15 days ago? So like that, you have to see if there are any developmental projects in any national park. That will be the favorite area of UPSC. Are you understanding? So in that way, you have to prepare. Okay, now let us see here facts related to this topic. Bandipur Tiger Reserve, which is one of the richest biodiversity area, which is located in Western Ghats Mountains zone, and it is surrounded by Moodmalai Tiger Reserve also, and even we have nearby Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, and even we have Kabini Reservoir, which separates Bandipur and Nagarhole. Bandipur and Nagarhole are very near tiger reserves, only they are divided by one reservoir called as Kabini Reservoir. Okay, and this area is recognized as mega biodiversity areas because they are home for floral and as well as rich faunal biodiversity. And it was established under 1973 under Project Tiger. And next, if you see about this biosphere reserve, Bandipur Tiger Reserve is part of Mysore Elephant Reserve, and it is the country's first biosphere reserve in this Nilagiri biosphere. Country's first, it is the part of this Nilagiri biosphere reserve. In 2019, there was a question in this way: consider the following national parks. They are part of which biosphere reserve? Are you understanding? If you're seeing the biosphere reserve, overall we have 18 biosphere reserves in India. You have to see in that biosphere reserves which are the wildlife sanctuaries, which are the tiger reserves, which are the national parks part of it. If you see the PYQs, then you will understand how exactly the questions are asking in your environment and ecology. Do that work. And how many pages of notes do you have for environment? Just not more than 60 pages. Read that thoroughly and do PYQs. Okay, no need of reading any Shankar IAS. You can't read that because only you have 3 months of time. Okay, do your class notes sufficiently and do the PYQs. Okay, next one here is you have to see about the river. In this area, we have a river called as River Kabini, and we have River Moyar, River Nugu. How can you get a question here is consider the following rivers. Which of the above rivers are part of this Bandipur Tiger Reserve? In that way also you may get a possible question. And not only that Bandipur Tiger Reserve, if you see other tiger reserves in state of Karnataka, we have Bhadra Tiger Reserve, we have Nagarhole, we have Dandeli, Anshi, we have Biligiri Ranganatha Swami Temple Tiger Reserve. And apart from that, we are also having lots of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks in this area. And if you say about this Nagarhole Tiger Reserve, it is a notified tiger reserve under this Project Tiger, and it is officially known as Rajiv Gandhi National Park. Okay, that's it, guys. Kabini, all those rivers I said. See this next article, guys. Center to bring 1954 border villages under development scheme. Okay, it is talking about which villages? Border villages. Then what is border village? What is border village? International borders. India is sharing border with how many countries? Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, with which India is sharing land border. Okay. Recently we discussed about Myanmar issue, sorry, Meghalaya. What Meghalaya is doing? Meghalaya is deporting illegal migrants who entered from Bangladesh to Meghalaya. What is the reason? Around 47 kilometers there is no fencing. Through that place, this illegal migrants who are entering into this Meghalaya, they had been deported back. Okay. So here, if you are identifying them and if you are deporting back, it's okay. What if we cannot deport them back? Is that good for our country? It leads to one internal security problem. So for that, what we are doing is we are developing our border villages. If you are making our border villages strong, we can overcome this problem of infiltration, illegal migration from this border countries. Okay, the problem in this border villages here is what is happening in this border villages. Can we have proper development? For sure, there will be no development. always there will be incursions, especially along this India-Pakistan and India-China border. There is no peace at all. So because of this, if we are not maintaining law and order, if there is no peace, will people wants to stay in that village? No, they will come out of that village. They will enter into major cities. Then what happens that village, if they are having less population, is that easy to occupy by this China and Pakistan or not? Yes. That means if we are not properly maintaining security and development in these villages, then what happen? It may fall in the trap of other countries. So because of this, government want to strengthen our border villages. For that, government came up with a program called as Vibrant Village Program, and it had been converted into VVP2 program. First, government came up with this VVP, that is Vibrant Village Program, and now VVP2. We are going to have that VVP2. Under this VVP2 program, now our government is bringing furthermore around 2000 villages under this. Are you understanding why government is doing all those things? If government is spending 1 rupee means there will be a reason behind that. Yes or no? If you are spending 1 rupee for your friend, will you spend 1 rupee for your friend without willing anything written? We won't, right? If you are offering coffee one day for your friend, next day, yesterday I only paid money for your coffee, today you have to pay. Today you have to give biryani party. See here how the demands and wishes are increasing. So in the same way, government is, if it is doing any project, any scheme, government has to bring certain change in the society. Without any reason, government will not do or come up with certain schemes. Okay, now let us see about this Vibrant Village program. So first phase of this Vibrant Village program came up in year 2022 to 2023 till 2025 to 2026. Now we are in 2026, so upgradation of this scheme happened now. Okay. So what is, initially whenever government came up with this program, they came up as a centrally sponsored scheme. What is the centrally sponsored scheme? Okay, both state and as well as center has to share the money for this program. And what is the objective? At that time they said that we want to develop around 3000 villages in 46 blocks in 19 districts in this northern border states. Only in the northern border states. You can see those states: Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Uttarakhand and UT of Ladakh. In these areas they want to develop these villages. And it will help the people to stay in their native locations in border areas so that they can stop out migration in the villages and they can improve security of the border. And even people will be getting certain livelihood opportunities, employment opportunities in that border areas. That is the idea why they came up with this. And later on, this had been extended to VVP2 program. Earlier it is centrally sponsored, but now central government came up with this central sector scheme. Why central sector? Because now they added another areas. Now they added Assam, Bihar, even Gujarat, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tripura, Uttarakhand, UP, West Bengal. So your entire our border states had been extended in this program. So have you ever seen, whenever we are talking about centrally sponsored scheme, for UTs, for northeastern states, the share of central government will be more. 100% will be given to UTs. 90:10 is for their northeastern states. So mostly are focusing on that. So because of this, what happened? If they are giving more funds for this northeastern states and UTs, will this other states will accept? They are also having same kind of threat. So they came up with 100% central sector scheme in this phase 2 because of increasing of northeastern states and UTs. We have UT of Ladakh, UT of Jammu and Kashmir here. Okay, understood? Okay, so in this scheme they are going for development of village located in the blocks in this international land borders area. Okay, that's it guys. Nothing more. You have to remember that is centrally sponsored scheme now in this VVP2 program. See this article guys, troubled waters. This is talking about Great Nicobar. Why this Great Nicobar project is news we saw like 2 days back? Why? What is the reason? Tell me guys. Because NGT gave clearance. NGT, why NGT gave clearance? NGT said that this project is strategically very important and they are not going to violate anything, and even CRZ norms also they are following, and even government will be taking focus on environment conservation, protection, leatherback turtles, nestle sites, everything. So we gave the clearance. Okay, if you have to write an essay, if you are willing to write an essay for Great Nicobar project, how can you start? I gave you work to write an essay related to this Great Nicobar Island project. How will you start your introduction? Essay classes are done, right? Tell me, how can you start an essay? Think and tell me, online students. How can you start? To show you that only, I took this article for the day. Okay, they gave one case study here. See here, in early 20th century, see the case study. In early 20th century, the British Phosphate Commissioners, it is a joint venture of UK, Australia and New Zealand, began a large-scale phosphate mining for fertilizer on Nauru and Banaba in Pacific Ocean. In these two areas, they started this mining for phosphate. When they started early 20th century. By 1945, the island had been so physically devastated by strip mining that it was deemed uninhabitable. The native Banabans, these are tribal people in that area, the native Banabans were forcibly relocated to Ravi Island in Fiji. It is around 2000 kilometers away from that area. Today, Banabas is a delocate landscape of jagged limestone, and the displaced population is fighting for rehabilitation of its homeland. These serve as historical precedent for why economic logic alone cannot dictate actions in remote territories. This is one case study. What you understood after listening to that? In the same way, in this 20th century itself, they went for mining of phosphate in some island regions. From that area, who were the tribes in that area had been displaced to another place. And even today also they are fighting for their lands. So how can we connect this case study with this Nicobar Great Island project? In this project, who are going to be get displaced? Chompans and Nicobaris. So here the future of the Nicobaris and Chompans will be same as Banabas. Are you understanding? So in that way you can collect such kind of historical events which happened related to that, and you can connect that history with the present happenings, because history will repeat. We can learn our mistakes from our history, right? So already we learned a mistake that if you're going for this kind of mining and some developmental projects, obviously it will be causing an irreparable damage. We cannot repair that, right? And even the lives of the people are getting affected most. From 2000, sorry, from early 20th century onwards till today, we are in 2026 now. Even though more than 150 years, but even though they are fighting for their lands. So in the same way in future, this Nicobaris and Chompans who are going to be displaced from this area will be getting affected, and they will also face this kind of similar situations in the future. That is the thing which you have to remember, and you have to write this kind of case studies. Okay, now let us see this project, what they are exactly saying here. So in this project, we are going to cut 9 lakh trees across 130 square kilometers. And this one is, it is going to cause irreparable loss. It is going to disturb our leatherback turtles, saltwater crocodiles. Saltwater crocodiles was a question which asked in earlier UPSC questions. They asked in this way. Saltwater crocodiles are located in this Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So even in yesterday's or day before yesterday's class, we discussed that saltwater crocodiles will be getting affected because of this project. Again, there is a question. And even on this leatherback turtles also, there was a question in 2010. Again, you may expect a question regarding this leatherback turtles once again because of they are in news. Okay, and this one here is they are going to affect our corals, and they are going to affect local community like Shompans and as well as Nicobarese tribes. And even there are certain reports which are saying that they are forced to surrender the certificates of their, and they are forcing them to give the consent. Okay, so because of this, the history can repeat. So we have to be very much careful before starting off that project. We have to take this people interest also into consideration before starting off that. That is about this article. Are you understanding? There is nothing new to discuss, but they gave one case study, so I want to make you aware about that case study. That's it. And see this next topic, Kashmir revival, tourism that benefits locals can help counter the terrorist ecosystem. What happened in Kashmir? Pahalgam attack. Pahalgam, what is this place famous for? Tourism. Okay, after this Pahalgam issue, when it happened, in which month? In which year? 2025? Sure. Okay, in which month? April. Exact date, anyone? April 20? Yeah, April 24th, 2025. On this day, terrorists attacked this tourist in that Pahalgam area. They targeted Hindus and they killed only male. They left females and children. Right. And after that, what happened? If we are having this kind of terror attacks in any tourist site, will we open that again for the tourism? No. Then what happened? We shut down this tourism in this Pahalgam region after this Pahalgam terror attack. And which terror organization attacked these people? Name of the terror organization. What? It is one branch of LET. What is that name? TRF. What is the full form? The Resistance Front. The Resistance Front is the terror organization which is a subgroup of LET attacked this tourist in this Pahalgam area. So after that, what happened? Tourists had been closed in this region. Then what happened if tourists are not coming to that area? Will it be good or loss for the economy? Loss. How it is going to be loss? We are going to lose our tourism related economy, and there will be lots of local guides in that area. They will be losing their employment and livelihood, right? And there are lots, if that area is good for tourism, what we can see here, hotels, restaurants, food courts, all this business will be getting affected. And even not only that, if once the terror attack happened in that area, the people in that area will be having this fear, like again we may under this kind of attacks in the future, right? So why it is in news is in yesterday's or day before yesterday's article, I didn't took that for the class, but I read that news. They said that we are going to reopen tourism. We are going to control this terrorism in that area by taking extra efforts, and we want to again promote tourism in this area. So that is the one article that was there in yesterday's or day before yesterday's newspaper, guys. So because of this, we got this editorial. If there is any important article, if I'm missing that for the discussion, if that is utmost important, you will be getting that in editorials. In editorials, I will be covering that for sure. Okay. So here this article is saying that after this April 2025 Pahalgam attack, we closed this tourism in that area. And finally, we are reopening these sites for tourism once again in this Pahalgam region. What is the reason which is given by the government here is, we want to, we want to improve this tourism related economy, and even tourism, if we are reopening tourism once again, we can reduce the fear and feeling of isolation of that people who are there in that region, and we can rejuvenate employment opportunities, livelihood, everything in that region. That is the thing which mainly said here. And what are the steps the government is going to be taken now here is, they are going to rely more on volunteer awareness campaigns, and they are going to use certain protocols. And even if we are increasing tourism, obviously it will be having impact on environment, right? So they are going for forest protection committees also around these protected areas, and they are going for trail management, waste management, guiding, fire watch, wildlife conflict mitigation, Okay, so these are the steps they are going to take more, so that they want to promote this tourism once again in this Pahalgam region, and they want to raise this revenue of tourism and attract more and more foreigners, investment, everything, guys. So this is about this article. Okay, now let us see the next article. Title says AI for people applying technology for social good. Most of our articles are related to this AI in our paper. So I will be dealing with all those things in a single article. So why AI is in news? You know about this. India AI Impact Summit 2026 is going on. What is the dates? What are the dates? Till February 20th is a 5-day event where it is going on in Bharat Mandapam in Delhi. Which ministry is organizing it? You have to make a note. That is Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MIT. They will give you a question in this way. Consider the following statements regarding India AI Summit 2026. They will give 2 to 3 statements. Under that, you may get one statement. It is organized by Ministry of Home Ministry, Ministry of Defense, like that. It is by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Very important point. And it is the first major global AI summit hosted in Global South. That is also very important. And the summit hosted under India AI mission, and we are focusing on AI safety to AI development and impact. And what are the 3 pillars? People, planet, and progress that we discussed in our earlier class. Okay, what is the significance of this summit now? We can showcase the voice of Global South, and we can increase AI usage in some challenging areas of Global South. Like we can increase in healthcare, so and as well as agriculture, language, education. We discussed in our earlier class about exactly where we can use. I said that I took that content directly from PIB. So you have to revise that 7 points. And next one here is we are going to democratize our technology. We can showcase our digital public infrastructure models as a blueprint for AI, and we can advocate AI commons, and we can also compute powers, data sets, models, so that we can make this AI accessible for our global south countries also, and we can have more regulation and more innovation in this AI. That is the thing. And first of all, what is AI? AI is nothing but artificial intelligence. It is an ability of machines to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Whatever the work that human with his intelligence can do, now machines can do. That is called as artificial intelligence. And this artificial intelligence can enable us to learn from experience, and they can adapt to new situations, solve complex problems independently. And what AI will use? AI will use data sets, algorithms, large language models to analyze information, to recognize the patterns, and to generate responses. What they'll use? Data set, algorithms, and large language models. So see this image, guys. Here you can see applications of AI. So what are the applications of AI in healthcare? Personalized medicine, I gave you an example in that day's class. In finance also we can go for trading, algorithmic trading. And in transportation, autonomous vehicles. In marketing and customer services, targeted advertisements, chatbots. In education also, adaptive learning methods, personalized tutoring. Agriculture, crop monitoring. In cyber security, we can detect the threats. In energy, smart grid management, consumption forecasting, etc. And what are the challenges? Deepfakes, misinformation can happen by using this AI, that you know. Algorithmic bias sometimes, job displacement of people because of automation, privacy issues, data issues, and ethical decision making. So in India, see here, in India, we are using national strategy for AI, and we have AI for all. We have one summit we did in 2023 related to this AI, and we have India AI Mission 2024. So on this also you can get a question in your prelims, India AI Mission. And next we have India US Artificial Intelligence Initiative to control AI. And on this also you may get question. It is regarding Airavat. Airavat is nothing but AI research, analytics, and knowledge assimilation platform. It is used for supercomputers. Okay, that is one current affairs in 2025 December month. Okay, so all these are the initiatives of AI. how we are controlling and regulating AI in India. And what are the components? You may get questions on this also. We have machine learning, cognitive computing, we have computer vision, we have natural language processing, we have neural network, and we have deep learning. All these 6 are the important components of AI. Okay? See the questions, guys. Regarding Bandipur Tiger Reserve, biodiversity and conservation, which of the following statements are right? It has significant populations of tigers, elephants, leopards, and it is part of Mysore Elephant Reserve. Tiger numbers have increased due to protection measures, but overpopulation contributes to conflicts. It was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2024. Next, see the next question. Regarding Vibrant Village Program, expansion and focus areas, which of the following statements are correct? It was initially central sponsor scheme but shifted to central sector, VVP2. Key interventions include skill development, financial inclusion, and promotion of fairs or festivals. It primarily addresses coastal borders under Sagar Mala initiative. Okay, online students, please tell me your answers in the comment box. Don't forget, guys, whilst I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And if you like this class, please do hit the like button. Please do share this class to your friends. And do subscribe to Rathod Science Academy. Don't forget, guys. And the new batch for Prelims Cum Mains Foundation is going to be started on 25th of February. And we are providing on both online and offline. If you want to join, so please do contact us on this number, 8074765513. Thank you so much, guys.